What is up, everybody? How's it going? Welcome back to another new YouTube video on the channel. I know a lot of you guys probably have a lot of questions. Go check out my last video just for those answers. And I know a lot of those questions probably is, yo Prince, the fuck's going on with your hair? Don't ask. Just give me a second, okay? Just give me a second, chat. Why am I calling y'all chat like I'm streaming? Oh, by the way, if you didn't know, you're gonna know now. We stream every single night at 10 or 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over on the Twitch. Go show some love to it. But as you can see from the title of this video, this is one of my infamous story times. It's honestly probably the most weird story time that you're ever gonna hear. So this is a story time of how I had sex with a kid's mom in my high school. And I know that's hard to believe, I know it's hard to sound, but just listen and let me explain, okay? So there was this kid when I was in high school. I'm not gonna say his name because it's kind of fucked up, but I'm not the one that told the whole school. He is, so we're just gonna call him E. So E, he was about a grade young, 2 grades below us, and he would get bullied on the bus, you know? And growing up, I wasn't a really big fan of bullies, even though I could be one sometimes. And the kid that was bullying him, I didn't like at all. So I kind of stood up for him, you know. And I went by his mom's house one day because we kind of lived in the same like neighborhood. And I went by his mom's house, and I think I told her like, hey, don't worry about it. Like, we got it covered, you know. And then we got into the topic of my grandma living across the street. And then she asked me if I knew how to do like yard work, and of course I said yes. I was like, yeah, I know how to do yard work. It's nothing hard for me. She was like, okay, I have some bushes that I need to be cut. If you can cut them, I'll pay you. So I was like, all right, cool, easy money. So I go over to my grandma's, I get the hedge clippers, I start cutting the bushes, you know. And then like 3 hours go by, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna come back with my friend Austin tomorrow. We can just bang out all these bushes, and then we'll get it done real fast. She was like, that's perfectly fine. So I go home, I get on the game, I'm talking to Austin, he's like, alright, cool, we get off of school that day, and then we go over there instantly, because you know, Austin lived a little bit down the block, I lived like right over the river and shit, so we went over there, met at her house, started cutting the bushes. And mind you, I'm like 16, I think Austin's 16 also, so we're both about 16. And we get like basically done with the bushes, and she's like, do you guys want something to drink? So we're like, yeah, fuck it. So we go up in the house, you know, we're chilling, we're just hanging out. And I don't know how the conversation started. I think I was being like sort of a flirt, kind of. And she was like, do you guys want to drink? And my friend Austin hears that, you know, he wasn't really how he is today, but he was like, yeah, sure. And I was like, fuck yeah, let's do it, I don't care. So we start taking shots, and about 5-6 shots in, you know, we're in her bathroom, and she's showing us like pictures of her ass, telling us like, oh, she really likes big dick, like all this kind of shit. So I automatically knew where this was going. I knew, like, right then and there, I was like, Austin, you're either doing this with me or you're not. I do not care. And so he kind of brushes it off, and I'm like, alright, whatever. So we end up going, like, staying the night basically at her house with her sons and shit. But her sons, they stayed upstairs, and there was no room upstairs. So we were like, we're gonna sleep on the couch. So we start sleeping on the couch, and I'm like, man, this couch ain't comfortable. So I kind of go in her room a little bit, and I peek my head through, and I'm like, hey, is it cool if I chill in here? And she's like, yeah, it's perfectly fine. Oh, the dog is on it. She's like, yeah, that's perfectly fine. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm sitting down in her bed, we're talking, and she kind of like takes her hand almost and kind of like runs it down my thigh. So I'm like, oh shit, I know where this is going. So I'm like, alright, God damn, that sun is bright. Holy. So I'm like, alright, I know where this is going. So let me just see how far I can push it, you know? So I start grabbing up on her, like we're feeling each other. And I kind of look at her and I'm like, you sure about this? And she's like, I won't tell if you don't. And I'm like, shit me, I'm gonna tell everybody. But I fuck it. So, we get it on, and this is so fucking hilarious. So we get it on and we're going at it and shit. And then Austin comes in and I look over at him and he's like, what are you doing, bro? And I'm like, listen, you can either get out or you can join. And he kind of like paused for a little bit, but he was like, fuck it, if I'm gonna lose my virginity, I'm gonna lose it right now. So he kind of jumps in, he does his thing with her, and then I'm like, alright, fuck it. So I'm already done at this point. I'm like, alright, cool, I'm gonna go lay down. So I go lay down, and then I don't really think much of it. Like, I didn't really tell nobody. Me and Austin, like, we're gonna keep that a secret between us. And then I end up going to school. And then, like, 2 weeks later pass, and this kid comes up to me and he's like, hey, did you really fuck E's mom? And I'm like, huh? And he's like, yeah, E's been telling everybody that, like, you slept with his mom and stuff. And I was like, shit, yeah, but, like, I didn't think he was gonna tell everybody. And I guess the kid said it because, like, who I was in school, he wanted to kind of seem cool, but it really backfired on him. And then I'm sitting in, I think I was in English class. And no, it was creative writing. I was in creative writing. And I'm sitting there, and the principal comes to the door. And he knocks on the door, and he kind of peeks his head in, and he's like, hey, so-and-so, like, says my last name. He's like, hey, can you come here? And I'm like, okay, cool. So I grab my stuff, instantly I'm thinking I'm getting searched. I think I'm going to jail. It's like I've got my vape on me, I've got vapes in the car, like I've got 6 cigars in the car, I've got weed in my truck outside. I'm like, fuck, bro, I'm going to jail. And I go to this office, like, sort of room, and this lady comes in, and she's asking me all these questions. She's like, was it forced? Did, like basically trying to see if this woman, like, R-word me. And I was like, nah, wasn't forced. I willingly did it. Like, it was a full consensual thing. And she was like, okay, just so you know, you'll have to testify that in court. And I was like, I'm not doing that. But okay, just let me go back to class. And they sent me back to class, and I just kind of never thought anything of it until about 3 weeks ago when she messaged me on Facebook. And I didn't hit her back. I kind of just read her message, and it was something along the lines of, oh, you're real girl now. And I was kind of like, shit, God, fucking, like, what the fuck, And I don't know, man. That's kind of the story of how I had sex with a kid's mom that I went to high school with. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy the story time, or I made you laugh, or even if you cracked a little smile, let me know down below. Comment what story times you'd like to hear. Would you like to hear crazy more sex story times? I have one where I fucked in a graveyard, I had sex in a porta potty, and I fucked a substitute teacher one time. So yeah, let me know down below. It's been Prince, guys. Catch the stream tonight at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'll see all of you motherfuckers in the next one. Peace. The fuck.